today I am joined by one of the most trusted trainers in the game, Joel Freeman.
Hello, hello. How's it going?
All I want to say, because sometimes people don't watch to the end, you got to watch to the end. And you got to join the BODi Experience community and join me and Joel to do 25-minute speed train starting Monday, June 16th. I'm going all in, 8 weeks, 25 minutes a day. This is for busy people who are tired of putting in the time and not getting the results.
When you start to see your body taking shape and seeing the results that you're going for, not the finished product, but those milestones, you lost a couple pounds or your pants are a little looser, enjoy that journey, enjoy those wins. So, because then before you know it, the 8 weeks is done. You worked out every single day. You did something 7 days a week for 8 weeks and you're like, holy crap, I did that. And then look at these results.
Well, a big hello to the BODi Experience community. Welcome back to the BODi Experience podcast. I'm Carl Deichler, your host and CEO of BODi. And today, we're not just talking about a new program. We're talking about the launch of something built for me. No, built for people who have no time, who are done wasting time working out, and who want to get results and actually have a summer project. And that's the way I'm looking at this new program called 25-Minute Speed Train from Joel Freeman. And why not just bring the man on? I am joined by one of the most trusted trainers in the game, certainly in the BODi game, Joel Freeman. Welcome to the podcast, Joel.
Hello, hello. How's it going?
It's going great. Now, look, you are leading the charge with 25-Minute Speed Train. This is a brand new, high intensity, although I want you to help me understand what high intensity means. But because it's 25 minutes a day, it's a no excuse program. It's just, that's the way I like them. You know, last year we did BODi Lava, 20 minutes in the summer. I did that program. I love a short program that I can get done and doesn't leave me any room for excuses. Mm-hmm. So we're going to get into what it is, why it works, what you saw in the test group. And frankly, I do want to get into a little bit of the background of Joel Freeman, how you came to fitness and how you came to Beachbody and now BODi. And before we get into that, all I want to say, because sometimes people don't watch to the end, you got to watch to the end. And you got to join the BODi Experience community and join me and Joel to do 25-minute speed train starting Monday, June 16th. I'm going all in, 8 weeks, 25 minutes a day. We'll talk about why we did 7 days a week, but again, it's 25 minutes. And for once in your life, you know how people, they train they start January 1st and they train through Memorial Day so that they can feel good in the summer. This is going to be maybe the first summer in your life where you get to Labor Day in better shape than you were Memorial Day. So let's get to it. And I hope if you're watching this for information and motivation and inspiration, I hope you join us because all BODi members will have access to the program when it drops on June 10th. Okay, first let's talk about the evolution of Joel.
It's supposed to be a short podcast, but we'll have to condense. We'll condense it.
This one's going to be like, we're going Rogan on this thing. Welcome to the next 2-3 hours of your life.
Oh my God, the Cliff Notes.
Yeah. So you and I met in New Zealand.
Yeah, of all places.
We did a licensing deal with the Les Mills company, and they had all these brands, and we wanted to do these ensemble casts. And let's walk through, what was your initiation into the Beachbody community?
So meeting you in Auckland, it wasn't that brought the Beachbody feel though, because we were filming it. We were filming at the Les Mills studios there, and that was where I'd filmed before. It didn't feel quite that different. We filmed in Studio One, which was the main stage. Again, that didn't feel quite that different. It wasn't until we came back from the States and that program launched, and then I went to I think it was either 2011 or 2012. I can't remember which one it was. That summit in Vegas, and that was my first. Whoa! moment. I was like, oh, this is new. This is something I've never seen before. So that was my first inundation to really what Beachbody was all about. And I was loving it because I was also, by that point, I was working heavily in the gym industry in LA at Gold's Gym. So, going from a gym facet to the home fitness facet was, I was like, oh, this is how we can really get some people moving. And that's obviously where my focus went from that day forward.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm going to bring everything. I'm going to constantly be coming back to the BODi experience community, because what you experienced, what I witnessed with what we shot with Les Mills, which was ensemble and people working together. And then what you witnessed at a summit, obviously we would have the super workouts and the individual trainer workouts, and even our own community has always been at its best when people were holding each other accountable. And that's what I'm excited about with this program and its integration in the BODi experience community. But let's not jump ahead of ourselves.
Sure.
So you did a couple programs with Les Mills, and then we shot some one-offs. But your first major program was, we wanted to do sort of an MMA inspired program. You did that with Jericho, Core to Force. What was that experience? Because that was the first time that you really sort of led the thing.
Yeah, that was, I mean, I think a trial by fire is what the term that comes to mind on that one. Yeah, I remember you called me. I was in an office meeting. You called me and said, hey, I have this idea. I really want you to come on board and help me put this together. It was a mixed martial art based cardio program. And it was intense. It was really intense putting it together, writing it. And yeah, because when we did the Les Mills programming, we didn't write that. That was, the program heads and leads that wrote those programs. So this was coming into it. And then all of a sudden, working obviously with the F&R team, the fitness nutrition results team at Beachbody, we had some help, but it was Jericho and myself. We were in charge of writing this program. So I, jumped full on into, I was already boxing. I was already doing some Muay Thai and kickboxing, but I went into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I went into every facet of the mixed martial art world that I could to bring that level up authenticity. And so it wasn't just trying to write something for home use. It was also, I was getting my butt whooped, training every day with these fighters, and then coming into it and then trying to modify it to be something that would be usable, with someone that had a 6x6 space in their living room. So it was trial by fire. We went through a lot to get that program done. We're really proud of it. It's technical, it's hard, but people go back to it. It's one of those older programs when people go back to it, they go, holy heck, this is really hard and really challenging. And it's no equipment. We did body weight only. But it was a great way to get inundated into it. And there was so much learning out of it that I know when we finished that, I was really able to see what was working and what I, didn't work necessarily in my head. I was like, okay, if my next one, if I get to do another one, this is how I want to change it. And so that really started, I think, the evolution of how I create programs for at home use.
So, we'll get into a little bit, because I do want to compare how 25-minute speed train is an interesting evolution from, frankly, your first your own lifting program, Lift 4, where you didn't do any of the workouts and then, or much of it. And then this one where you are doing everything yourself. But I want to jump into 25-minute speed train, because that's really what I'm excited about. I haven't done a program for a while, and I'm really excited to, I've put my own thing together, so I've been pretty consistent, but really excited to follow the program specifically. But I think I pitched this idea to you conceptually, I think, what I wanted from it, but the question remained very early on, in terms of solving the problem that I was seeing, and that is, people doing free YouTube videos or milling around the gym. And even myself, when I wasn't plugged into a program, I could easily let the time under tension that I could normally get in a half hour stretch to 60 to 90 minutes, just sort of farting around, and I'm like, I need some efficiency here. So you took it upon yourself to create this concept of targeted volume training.
Targeted volume training, yeah, and it's combining a couple of things, right? So it's not not reinventing the wheel, but yeah, the original meeting that you and I had in LA was less than 25 minutes even, but it was a conversation that we were talking about of and I think that's why we've collaborated so well over the years, because as a trainer, it's like tell me your ideas. I got a million of them. But then you are able to look at certain things and say, okay, here's the problem. Here's what we want to solve. Here's what's missing from the library. And then it's like, I go look at what I have and how do we fit that into it? So, it worked out really well with that 25 minutes, because at first it was shorter than that. And then when we had the conversation, I was like, I need 25. Can I have 25 minutes, please? And you said yes. I'm like, cool. But when I looked at that, it was like, okay, now that I have this, now I know I have a set amount of time. And one of the things that obviously people love about Lift 4 is that 30 to 35 minute time frame, the total run time, and really getting in that amount of lifting in a shorter amount of time. So then I'm like, okay, now I got even 10 minutes less. So what, some things have to go, some things have to stay. How do I get this? And so where targeted volume training came from was literally went back and, you look at the science of how to get more into, how do I take one muscle, for instance, one muscle group, and get as much volume into it in a certain amount of time as possible, whether it be 25 minutes, whether it be 45 minutes. Now, with the science of it, that'll change in the way you lift. But with this, I saw a way to really build the volume into the muscles that we want to work on each particular day in that 25-minute period. And when I called it targeted volume training, because then saying, okay, this is how I can get it. Now, what muscles are going to benefit each other in terms of secondary muscles, tertiary muscles? So in terms of like, if you're doing a chest press, your secondary muscles are your triceps, right? So they are working as your chest is working, and back and biceps, things like that. So didn't necessarily make those splits because we already have splits like that. That's just old school lifting, but looked at the design of the program. And this is the back end of how I work, and say, okay, now what exercises will complement each other in the actual 25 minutes and then throughout the entire week. So it was quite laborious, and I had it all spread out on a big whiteboard to make sure everything worked, and tested the hell out of it here at my gym at home, and which we'll get to later, but that's why I wanted to film it here, because this is where this thing was born and bred.
Yeah. Well, I think the key thing for me, at least, and my observation is, like, I didn't want something that felt like I was in a constant sprint for the whole workout. Like, I want to be able to do the workout, but not feel like I gotta be shot out of a cannon to do it. But I also think that this kind of routine, or this kind of program in 25 minutes, you can't do a lot of compound stuff. So how do you navigate, keeping it interesting, keeping it effective, but keeping it simple enough that you can go from move to move to move, so that I get everything out of the 25 minutes that I want?
Yeah, well, and me, I don't like those types of exercises, right? I hate doing the multi-compounded movements. But I knew that we had to do some of them some places, and so I knew there was a place for a couple things, but it had to make sense. But the way to do it, the answer was tempo training. Bringing back something that is, again, we're not reinventing the wheel in a lot of ways. It's the ways that things are put together. Squat's a squat, but in terms of the programming and the design, so I used the targeted volume training, added the tempo training, and in messing with the tempos and progressing the tempos in different ways over the course of the 8 weeks, which our test groups have been finding out as they're even nearing the second round of this. They're getting into week 7 and 8, and because those tempos keep changing and I move it around, they're still getting their butts whooped every single day. So it's using using the tempo training allows me to build more volume of work into the muscles in that 25 minutes. And that's the key to success, or has been the key to success on this program, is that targeted volume training, and then using tempo training as a basis to really, as a technique throughout the 8 weeks.
Do I need a bench for the program?
You do not need a bench. We also wanted to go super simple on this. Just like we did with Lift 4, this is the same thing. As you came to me with the problem, said, we need a workout. people have less time. They have less of everything in a lot of ways. So it was like, let's just make this accessible to as many people as possible. So it's literally dumbbells. It's the plastic resistance loops. That's it. And with that, with the dumbbells, here's the kicker on this. The heaviest dumbbell that I lift in this program when I was filming it was a 50-pound dumbbell. That was the absolute heaviest that I was able to lift. And that was even doing like some basic exercise, but on regular exercises that you will see, bicep curl or overhead press or squat, I'm lifting 30s, 40s max. Like, so this is not a heavy lifting program because of the tempo training. There's minimal breaks in this. Again, it's only 25 minutes. So that's another way we could talk about in a minute in terms of that minimal break also increases your heart rate. So there's a cardio element to this as well. Yeah, so you don't need a lot of heavy dumbbells, which I think is going to make this even more accessible to more people as well.
What would you say the range that I need is dumbbell wise?
If you got up to 25, 30s max, you're fine. You will be fine on this.
Do I need to go as low as 5, like 10? Like, where do I start?
2.
Generally?
There's literally some times where I'm lifting 5s because I am in that 25 minutes, I am completely burnt out and 5 pounds feel heavy. There's a couple of times that you'll even like just lift your arms because your arms weigh something and they feel like 100 pounds. So yeah, most people have, 5, 2.5 is like the little tiny ones, 2.5 range up to, anywhere between like 5, 10, 15. If that's all you have, you still will feel this program for sure.
Yeah. Well, look, we want to obviously cast the widest net as possible. We want as many people this to be accessible to as many people as possible. But I would say to anybody watching who's like, well, all I have is 5, 10s, and 15s. Get yourself some 20s. Get yourself some 25s. They don't go bad. They don't break.
Expire.
You're going to need these the rest of your life. You want to have some weights. Now, how big was the test group that went through the program?
Test group, the first round is always larger. I don't remember exactly offhand. I think we had 30 to 40 people in the original group. And then round 2, we probably had about half that. But we usually get anywhere between 30 and 40 people at the start. All age ranges, obviously, because we want to see, and not just age ranges, but fitness levels as well. So we have people that are looking to just lose 5 pounds, and we have people that are looking to lose 50 pounds plus.
And you get a range of people you also get a range of attitudes. Mm-hmm. Like some people, it always fascinates me, I think it's a real privilege to be able to get into one of these groups. And then you've got people who basically want to take over design of the program for you and tell you how everything should be done. What was the process? Like, what was the feedback and the reaction? Because some people would be like, well, 25 minutes, that's not going to be enough, or or they don't want to lift, or they don't want to do something 7 days a week.
Yeah.
How did you navigate feedback to the program, and what was it at the beginning?
Honestly, I was surprised. There was a lot less feedback than I was expecting when it came to in terms of the workouts themselves. So the workouts themselves were, even after the first day, it was humbling. And I think what was nice about that is people realized very quickly, just in that first day, oh, this is enough, because that is going to be the number one thing. And I'm already getting these questions and messages of saying, well, do I need to add something else onto this 25 minutes? Do I need to add more cardio? Do I need to add more weights? And the answer is always going to be no. I'm not going to design a program that you need to do more on top of that. So that was the first thing, was to make sure people realized right off the bat on day 1 that this is enough. You don't need anything more on top of that. And people did realize that. So no one said anything after that. No one asked any of that in that question of like, hey, do I need to add more cardio or anything? And then leading into it, yeah, there was question, because we say it's a 7-day-a-week program. 6 of those days you are working. You are going to be lifting some sort of weight. You're going to be doing some sort of element that's going to make you move and sweat. And then on that 7th day, though, we felt strongly, you especially, that we want to give somebody something to do every single day. And so the 7th day is a mobility and flexibility day. So you're giving your body that break. We obviously want to do that, but we also want to keep moving and keep checking those boxes every single day. It's way too easy to, having a rest day is fine. I take at least one rest day every single week, but I'm still moving. I'm not just sitting on the couch. I'm still doing some sort of stretching and mobility on that rest day. And that's why we added that. So, people got used to it really quickly and they actually started to enjoy it. Just after the first week or two, they said, oh, this is actually great. I need this because also we've said this for years in every program. Oh, on that rest day, make sure you stretch. Okay, here's a workout for you. Try that. No one does it, right? Or you say, I'm going to stretch, tomorrow. No one does it. So this is just that way to check that box to make you basically hold you accountable every single day for those 8 weeks. And the test group really did appreciate that. Because we made them do it.
I'm solving my own problems here. I mean, I'm sitting in this chair all day, every day. And that includes the weekends. Like I work. And if I don't have it part of my program to do that 20, 25, 30, 35 minutes a day, I have no problem blowing it off.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will not complain if I have no workout that day, but going from day 6 to nothing on day 7 and then starting up again on day 1 is like I'm starting the whole program over. I got to get my sneakers in the right spot. I got to get psyched up again. And I'm like, you know what? I want to do this 8 weeks. I want to treat my body like it's a priority and I'm going to do something every day. So that's why I forced it. And I really appreciate that the team took to it. I think it's going to be a super healthy 7th day. But the main thing for me is, I think we're going to see more people finish the 8 weeks because it is a true 8-week commitment. And look, sometimes you're just going to miss a day. It's just 25 minutes. People will maybe double them up so that they stay on track. But it's always going to be on your plate. Every day, this workout's on your plate.
And look, what we talk about I've been saying for years, we all talk about is creating consistent, healthy habits. And this is exactly what that does. Because now if you follow for 8 weeks, 7 days a week, you have created a consistent, healthy habit. So at the end of that, it's going to feel weirder to stop doing that, to stop going and doing something every single day. And that's the whole idea of this, right? Is to just make it to the point. This is your new norm. This is not something you do for 8 weeks. And you're like, okay, I'm done. This is the new norm. This is something where you're like, oh, I got to do something now. Like that's what we want.
What a breakthrough that will be for people. Look, people who have a high level of activity are still going to face decline as they age. But by doing something like this, you're going to build your bone density. You're going to retain skeletal muscle. So your decline will be much slower, if not arrested. But people who are sedentary, who think they can get away with doing nothing, that decline is going to be fast. And that is a deconstruction process. And, at 61 years old, I'm just not going to have it. Like I visited my folks last weekend, they're at their various senior living homes and just everybody's afraid of every crack in the sidewalk. And like, look, I'm 61. I figure, all right, I'm going to give it a good 30 years here. And I expect I want to see if how long can I go? Can I go 30 years without having to have a little thing with tennis ball feet? I want to be able to get around the world. Exactly. Now,
look, you don't have to have your teeth. You don't have to have your teeth, but you can still have muscles and no teeth. Okay. That's like,
dude, I'm going to even floss on all 7 days. So now look, you, as part of this, you added a chapter to what we call the BODi Mindset Project. That is for people who don't know. Within the BODi app, we have a mindset area where there's motivation and how to stay inspired and find your why and all that stuff. And we created a thing called the BODi Mindset Project. And I have some of the chapters. Most of the super trainers have chapters where they'll talk about how they stay motivated. Now, you recorded one called Your Body is a Project, How to Stay Consistent by Thinking Like a Builder. Now, we've all seen your social media. You're always building something. And but I'm interested in what that mindset is as it relates to the 25-minute speed train, thinking like a builder.
Sure. So this subject of it was really easy for me to talk about because I put a project here at the house together the same way that I build a program. It starts with the design. It starts on the whiteboard. It starts looking and coming with a plan, basically, of saying, okay, here's what I'm going to do. Here's how I want to do it. Here's the tools I'm going to need. Here's the materials I need. And, coming with the plan. That's the workout plan, right? So if you think of your body as the same way, your workout plan, your nutrition plan, you get all the tools that you need. You get your containers, whatever you're going to be doing, you get those tools that you need. So then when you start, you're ready to go. And then as you go through that process, there's going to be, and it always starts, you're excited. You always start excited. Like every time I start a project, I'm like, okay, it's always the famous last words, like, this won't take that long, or this will only take a couple days, or only take a couple weeks. And that's the famous last words of any project. And your body's really the same way. Like, oh, well, I'm going to lose this much weight in this amount of time. Famous last words, because then life happens. And it's the exact same thing. And there's not one project I've ever done that has gone exactly how I thought it was going to go. There is always some sort of messy details in the middle where something happens or something breaks, or you uncover something else and you got to fix that. And life is going to do the same thing. There's going to be the messy middle of your life where something happens, something derails you. You have to travel, you have to do these things. And that is that point where you got to stay focused on it. And you got to look at, okay, look at the very beginning and say, why did I start this? And what is that finished product going to look like? And you got to remind yourself that your why are you doing this? So it is an easy comparison for me, but I think a lot of people that will resonate with as well. And just remembering your why. And if you remember that and you stay focused enough on it, then you're going to do it. You have to stay stubborn on that, right? You don't just give up on the why. You can't just quit a project right in the middle, because you got crap everywhere and you'll get in trouble by all the people that you live with. So you got to finish it. But you got to remember why you did it. And then what you do is and then in between those things, besides the messy middle, is you step back and you enjoy the steps along the way. My fiance makes fun of me or she laughs at me because after the day of work, I step back. I actually learned this from my father, because he's a carpenter too. You'll step back and you just sit there and you just look at it. And the next morning I go out there with my coffee and I'm looking at the project again. And I just stare at it. That's that completed step, because it's starting to take shape. It's starting to create, what I envisioned in my head or on a piece of paper. And your body's going to do the same thing. When you start to see your body taking shape and seeing the results that you're going for, not the finished product, but those milestones. You lost a couple pounds, your shirt's a little tighter, or your pants are a little looser. You start to enjoy that. And you really, I tell people all the time, enjoy that journey, enjoy those wins. So, because then before you know it, if you enjoy those along the way, at the very end, next thing you know, the 8 weeks is done. You worked out every single day. You did something 7 days a week for 8 weeks. And you're like, holy crap, I did that. And then look at these results. And then you look at that finished product. I think too many people are focusing on the end result and they're not enjoying the journey and looking at what changes every couple of weeks. I'm not saying jump on the scale every single week, because it's going to fluctuate. It's going to drive you crazy. But that's why you take measurements. That's why you look in the mirror. That's why you do this. And people are going to start to see, like, wow, you're looking more muscular. Your face is getting skinnier. You're doing this. You're doing that. Like, all that stuff that's part of the fun.
So tell us what the week is like, because it's 7 days. So what's the construct look like?
There's upper body and lower body days. We don't want to give all of it away, but what to expect, there's basically 2 upper body days. There's 2 lower body days. There is a full body day. And then there is a workout called core cardio. The core cardio is, and all of this is in the traditional sense of what people are used to when it comes to working out with me. Most of the time, people are used to high intensity interval training. HIIT training, as you mentioned at the beginning of this, in terms of high intensity. It's not high intensity intervals. This is actually more of a lower intensity interval, even in the core cardio. But what I did is in the design is used movement patterns that will go more full body engagement, not just in the full body work, but actually in the core engagement or the core workout. So you're getting a lot more full body engagement, and doing that, and then with the minimal breaks, you increase your heart rate. So there's some movement in there. Some people will recognize in terms of what you might do on the high intensity level, but I'm bringing the intensity down to be more of a sustained movement throughout these workouts. So yeah, 2 upper body days, 2 lower body days. Those are also basically synergistic. They work together. So whatever day you do the upper body day, and then you're like, oh, well, I I might not have, I feel like I missed this body part or whatever it may be. It's because it's in the second day. So every single week works together very well. It's seamless in the design. But yeah, and again, that's how I was able to get more work into the muscles using targeted volume training in just that 25 minutes. So it's, people, when I told the test group, was like, look, because it's very easy to look at something you've already done, right? People are going to look at what I've done. They've done lift 4, they've done lift more, or 10 rounds, whatever. And they're going to look at it and be like, well, in that program, you did this. Well, I know that was that program. This is new. This is different. This is taking something and, not just from terms of timing, creating something that is going to be unique and different and give people results. And, but using less equipment also, that was a challenge too. So that's where the temper training comes in as well. So I think what people can expect is a really efficient and effective workout in the 25 minutes. Like
I think people are going to be, if they go at it with an open mind, I think they're going to be pleasantly surprised, like I was and am, with particularly the sample workout. So you're by yourself in your home gym doing this. And I have to tell you, like, first off, I much prefer to work out by myself. I don't like any witnesses. But there was something about just working out with you. My focus is so much more locked in. I've got less inputs. There's less variables that I'm chasing with all the people in the room. And I, like, literally for that 25 minutes, I am so focused and locked in that I hope people approach this with the same kind of enthusiasm that they've ever had if they've ever done a BODi program, like start to finish, and go, I'm going to lock in for this 7 days a week for 8 weeks. And it's just me and Joel. And obviously you come to the community, you share your experience, you get motivation, you get answers to any questions you've got. But I will say that you really did achieve something quite special that it's like, almost like we're Zooming, you know what I'm saying? Like you're just there and I'm just getting the workout done.
Yeah.
With no noise. It's just so good. And I put my own music on, but it really, I just love the simplicity of what you put together.
I appreciate that. That was the idea, right? So it was, look, we've done casts. We've been there. We've done that. And look, I love my casts. I love every single one we've had. I still stay in touch with them, but there's a time and a place for that. And, Live 4, what you mentioned at the beginning of this, Live 4 was the first time really filming a program, personal training style, where the cast is doing the work. I am not, and I'm basically training them, right? I'm training you at home. I'm training the cast. And it was a novel concept, right? It had been done kind of, but not like that as much. So, and it resonated. It's been resonating, right? It's still a top program in the library, and people have stuck with it since 2018. So we know that it works. But with this one, I wanted to go just all in on the personal training field to it and just get rid of everything. I was like, let's just strip this sucker down. We got 25 minutes. We don't have time for anything else. We don't have time for any more filler or anything else. This was literally, it's going to be you, me, in my gym where I wrote this program, and we're going to work out and we're going to get done. And like you said, it's that laser focus that you have because you have nothing else to focus on but the workout and me doing the workout with you. And so, yes, I am doing this entire workout because it is just me. And I want to make, so obviously showing the correct form, the moves, the modifications, everything like that. But then I feel that people are going to get that sense of also having, not just getting trained by me, but, working out together, right? We're working out together. We're in this together. We're doing it together. I'm pushing just as hard as everyone else is. And I filmed 3 of these a day. So I was tired, but I was still pushing it to make sure that it looked like, because I wanted that authenticity, right? So yeah, I think I felt really good. I just finally saw a final edit. I hadn't even seen it yet, and I think I think it's gonna resonate with people. Is exactly what you said. It's you, me, 25 minutes. Get this workout and get on with your life.
Yeah. Well, look, this isn't a pitch. The whole point of this company is to help people go from what I like to say day one to day done, so that, like, I'm not the kind of person that's like, I'm going to work out the rest of my life. I'm a project oriented person. But I know the feeling of training where you try everything and you get nothing. But I know that by the end of week 1, people are not going to believe the difference in how they feel. Yes, you're going to feel a little sore and it's going to feel so good and you're going to keep going and you become this strong, leaner, healthy new person, this new version of yourself. And I think this is going to be the kind of program that people should invite people to do with them because it's for, we're all busy. So this is for busy people who are tired of putting in the time and not getting the results. And it's time for people to have the opportunity to lose the weight, get the strength, the muscle, the abs, the buns, and get the time back. So I hope people go for it and they join the group and invite people to join us in that group. So let's talk dates and we'll wrap this up.
Sure.
So sample workouts already dropped. That's available to BODi subscribers. The group, the BODi Experience community is open and you have a 25-minute speed train group that you're running. I'm going to be in there with you every day. Yep. And that the official start date of the program is Monday, June 16th.
Yeah. So the program drops on Tuesday the 10th, but we're going to start on the 16th. A lot of people always like, why are we starting? Why is it dropping on Tuesday? That's technical, right? We got to make sure everything works before it comes out. That's why they test it on Monday, drop it on Tuesday. But yeah, and then, so take that week, get ready for it, get all your tools laid out. And then on the 16th, that's when we're going to start that Monday all together. Like you said, you're in it. I'm in it. When I finished filming, I was like, okay, I need to take a little bit of a break because this was like almost, 8 months, almost a year of my life. So I took a little bit of a break, but I actually missed the workouts. I've been, I went back to lift 4 style working out, but I miss these workouts. I really do. So I'm excited to jump back into this and get them going again too. Also because filming was different for me. Now I'm going to get to be able to go in real time with everybody else and do one a day and go as hard as I can, just along with everybody else. So I'm excited by that.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that we're doing with this community that's different than we've ever done before is we're going to do challenges. So I want to engage people in nutrition challenges. So we'll put up, here's a bunch of recipes, make one of these, and we'll do people can earn points by showing that they're doing the challenges. On some of the days, we'll put up like a push-up challenge, or you'll take one of the moves out of the workout. Like we'll come up with, I want to make this really fun. I want to make it engaging, and I want it to just be like, oh, I'm in this. This isn't like any other program I've done. I am fully in this with this community, and it's going to be so fun that I want people to then start to invite people and get back to that reflex of being like, it feels so good to be on top of my own consistency. And I think that's what this community is going to radiate. And I'm super psyched to start it with you and get to mid-August and be ripped and jacked and feeling good in my own skin.
Yeah, we have tested it, and we can all say you've seen the test group results too. We can say that it works, man. It's incredible. I mean, test groups are we always think we're going to see good results, but then you get the results. But this one, I'm like, I mean, it's weight is one. It's inches, man. Inches are just melting off of people. It's phenomenal.
People are like, oh, I don't know if I'll get results in 25 minutes. Well, you know why 25 minutes works? Because you do it. And you know what works? When you do it consistently, you get results. So it's like, go ahead with your 60 to 90-minute workout that you never do. It's not going to get you any results, but you line up 25 minutes a day for 7 days, you're going to see something. Like, it's just the body has no choice but to respond to that challenge. So I'm sorry. It's going to be great. All right. Well, Joel, good work. I'm sure that people who are going to join us in this community will have prizes, rewards, fun events, and things that we're going to do. I got some things in mind I want to talk to you about that we might be able to put together. But in the meantime, folks, you should try the sample workout. And above all else, make sure you're a BODi subscriber. Be part of the BODi Experience community inside the BODi app. and join us on Monday, June 16th for the full 8 weeks of 25-minute speed train. I'm going to be in there. I'm going to be posting on my social, embarrassing myself, and feeling good about it the whole way, because I know we are inspiring people to get healthy and fit with this program. So thank you so much for putting another winner together, Joel. Psyched to have a big summer with you, and I appreciate you joining us for the BODi Experience podcast. We'll see you next time.